welcome everybody to Coral Pod number 6 now. I have Zach here. This is Cam talking, and we have a very special guest, Aleksei here.
Hello, everyone, guys. Hope everything is well.
Yeah. Aleksei is the second Coral sponsored athlete. And Zach, I was just telling you offline, but I'll tell you now. I'll say again. I actually got to train a little bit today, which was good. It wasn't too crazy. Wasn't doing any jumping, but I was doing some moving. Some stairs, some hills. So I'm mobile again. I don't know if I'll be able to go back to 6 days a week, but we'll see how I feel tomorrow. It was just really good to move in general and just get out there in the sun instead of being on the bike.
Right. Yeah, I mean that's really good to hear. It's awesome that you're getting back into it because as track preseason kind of starts right around this time of year, so sounds like you're on a good timeline.
Yeah. And how's your training been this week?
It's been good. It's been tough. Been having some switch ups with I'm on a cycle 2. We're in the middle of cycle 2 right now, so some things are different from day to day.
Okay.
But primarily everything's looking the same, and getting out, running, moving some weight around, and just kind of feeling good.
All right, right on. Well, Aleksei, why don't you tell us kind of what you do athletically these days?
These days, well, I guess recently I switched to triathlon. It's been like almost a year, gonna be a year in October. But before that, I've been swimming for like over 20 years, and some of them professionally.
Yeah.
Came here from Russia, so swam there for junior national team a while ago. But like later on, it's been tough to compete like against big boys. So
yeah,
literally I recently switched to doing triathlon. And like in a week, my big race, my first half Ironman. We'll see how this goes.
Half Ironman. Okay, so is that 25 miles?
I have no idea. No, it's like 1.2 mile swim, 56 miles on the bike, and 13 miles run. So it's half marathon afterwards.
Oh wow.
Okay, and that's a half Ironman, man.
That's
okay,
a half Ironman. Yeah, exactly.
That is a challenge. Where is this half
So
Ironman?
you started out.
No, go ahead.
Go on, Kim.
Okay, so where is this half Ironman?
It's gonna happen in Santa Cruz, September 11th. So
okay,
not a long drive.
Got it.
God, yeah.
Okay, Zach, what were you saying?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask about. So you said you started out swimming. From your experience, like in the triathlon world now, is it common for people to kind of start as swimmers or runners? Like
it's really not, because like the longest leg is bicycle, of course, and a lot of triathletes, they used to be cyclists, so at least they're like very good cyclists, because for Ironman it's like 4 hours on the bike and only like 50 minutes in water, for like professionals. So like you cannot really like make a gap on a swimming, but if you're a good swimmer, at least you're not dying like on the bike first, like I don't know, 20 miles, because people struggle a lot, especially if you never swam before, and just it hurts, to be in the water for like 1 hour nonstop and working like at threshold pace. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's not really common that people come from swimming, and a lot of like long distance triathletes, they eventually came from running or cycling. So swimmers usually Olympic distance, a little bit short, and like you have this engine working in your body, so it helps a lot. But yeah, not that common. So
he's a different breed.
Has it been tough? Yeah, has it been tough to kind of make up for the training in the other areas, or has that been kind of with the mentality of swimming, has that kind of helped tackle?
At the beginning it was annoying, like to spend hours on the bike, because like in pool for me it was always like 2 hours workout, like very rare when it was like 3-4 hours, but like once a year, let's say, for like whole my entire life. And usually it was like 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, maybe weight room or something else in between. But bicycle is like 5-10 hours, nonstop, and you just keep pushing, and these legs can handle a lot, unfortunately. You can keep pushing for a while, and cycling was like the worst part, I would say, just because of longevity. But running was okay. Like I guess I just always like to run, and back home I always use my feet to go somewhere. Never had a car, so it feels natural, I would say.
Oh,
Right.
that's a good segue to talk about back home. So you said you're from Russia. You're from Siberia, right?
Yeah, straight from Siberia to California.
Oh man. So when did you or tell us about like your time in Siberia at like for because you said you were on the junior national team. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so like I was born in a small town, like deep in Siberia. I would say straight in the middle, next to Lake of Baikal. If you ever heard about it, like the deepest lake with a fresh water, amazing place.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I was born there, and like in our city, we had 3 swimming pools, and I have a sibling who is 3 years older than me. So my parents sent him first to swim in just to be active, like my dad never wanted us to be professionals, to become professionals,
Mhm.
but just to be active. And like he was always telling me, you're the man, you have to be in shape, like so you have to keep working out. And yeah,
Wow.
eventually like I started to swim, and at the beginning, like all my coaches told me that I'm just, like a waste of time and parents shouldn't invest like money in me,
Oh,
like in
really?
terms of swimming, because I'm not doing well. And I guess I wasn't that interested. But after age of 10, I got so into swimming, like I really wanted to work hard. And like in next 3 years, my first junior championship, let's say Russian junior championship, I was it when I was 13. I didn't do well. It was like 150s, 120s, and like maybe 30s on one of the races, but like very behind. And at the age of 16, I won junior Russian national team. Like I was top 3 on a few races and made a team. So like I could actually train with national team, never competed with them. Or like I never went for like junior European championships or anything like that. But
Mm.
at least I could go to training camp with the team, which was a big deal. At least they paid for stuff so I could go and like train somewhere for a month, like once a year or like twice a year,
Mm.
which was like the biggest excitement for me, not to get paid, but to be able to go somewhere and train with a national team.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
So
different experience.
so you started when you were a kid. You
Yeah,
said.
like at the age of 6, probably.
Mm.
My first year I just spent in a swamp, I would say. It's like a small pool, where they try to teach you anything, but I didn't really pay attention. And
Mhm.
later on, they send you to the big pool, like 5 lanes, 25 meters. That probably the biggest pool we had back then. And yeah, coach wasn't interested either. Like I said, it's a small town and people don't really expect they're gonna make someone great over there. So they just like kind of, okay, like you came, like let's work out.
Mhm.
And I feel like they've like just never met dedicated people over there who like really wants to go like hard and wants to go far. And it's difficult because like you need mentor, you need a coach who is gonna tell you, okay, like let's go, you got it. Like we didn't have it back then.
And so, but you were that dedicated athlete.
I guess I always wanted to be. Yeah, at some point, I decided that yes, I always studied, but I decided for myself like study it's gonna be on second term, and goal number one is gonna be swimming. But swimming is different. You can work hard as you can, and it's just like you need a little bit of talent in the sport. It's different environment and
Mm-hmm.
just everything is different. Like people not used to spend so much time in water, and like you have to have something in your body and especially good mindset first of all, like just to go far.
Mm-hmm.
But to have a good mindset when you're a kid, you need people around who can explain, like that's what we're doing and like that's what you're aiming for, like just like I said, like a mentor or something.
Right. Did you have that?
No, I guess not. Like my first coach, I remember how he was like writing practices on a piece of paper and just fell on asleep on the couch or something because we had like a couch in the pool. And I was like, okay, like he gave me the practice, like that's time to work, and I was just grinding, like whatever it is, like 3, 4, 5 miles. I was just swimming on my own, like learn how to work out on my own. So
On your own. At, I mean, props to you at a young age. 'Cause at a young
yeah,
age, I was not doing anything on my own.
no, at the age of 12, I remember like I went to Siberian championships like among my age, and I figured that like people swim twice a day. I was like, oh, like so it's probably gonna work out for me. And at the age of 12, I started to work out at 5 a.m. as well. I was waking up like 4-ish, like walking to pool when it's freaking negative 60 outside.
Oh my God.
Just doing my like 1.5, 2 hour swimming workout, coming back home, cooking breakfast, and then we had a bus around the city that was picking us up for school. So
Mhm.
at least this was very convenient for me.
Okay, so you went to morning practice before school when you were like 12.
Yeah.
Wow. And
First, I started from like 3 times a week, probably because I was just like falling asleep in classes. I remember still, like, like, trying to keep up with whatever professor says. But right now it's kind of easier. You understand why I do it. Back then I just didn't really understand, like, why am I doing it? Like every morning asking this question, like, why would I wake up when everybody just came to school happy and smiling, and like, barely falling apart. So yeah, it was interesting experience. I would never regret about this decision.
right on. And so,
Yeah.
okay, so that was up to 12. And so when you were in high school or so, did you also trained?
We don't have like we don't have high school sport like here in US. You can compete for, like, let's say college sport, right? In CA, we don't have it. Like school education and sport is very separate, and you have to choose, like, either you're going to become a professional athlete, which is like very rare in my country. There is no sponsorship. People don't like athletes for some reason, and sport is really dead back then. Like even right now during the wartime, it gets getting worse and worse, and I see athletes more like complain more and more about their lives. It's just like impossible to keep up financially, and yeah.
Okay. Zach, you were gonna say something?
Oh yeah. So Siberia, obviously you said it was like, negative some crazy number in like the winter. So do a lot of people take to indoor sports like swimming to stay fit? Was that swimming? You said there was 3 pools in your town. It seems like swimming was pretty popular as far as like just like a workout, but like, not a lot of people go to the level that you did from there. What was that kind of like when you were young and you were training? Like what was like the motivation to keep going for you?
I guess just to get out, like, from that place, like where I was growing up, and I like, my parents don't make much money. My mom, she's like a headmaster, a teacher in school. My dad, he was security guy in that school. And my dad, he was always about like work hard, like don't complain, work hard. Go, if you want to do something, go and do it. And I was like, okay. Like I was always quiet, just like waking up at 4 a.m. and my parents never woke me up, never for like 4 or 5 years of like since 12 to 17. They never woke me up like while I was living with them. And I guess I don't know, this like feeling inside, like you want to achieve something, you want to go far, and you just like, it's not enough. It's not enough. And I guess like a lot of athletes who compete on a higher level, they have this feeling, like it's not enough. Even if you win a big race, you like, next day you wake up, okay, done, like what's next, and like looking for these goals like every single time. And that's what keeps you up. And it's perfect because people don't have these goals every day, like let's say regular people who just go to work. There is nothing exciting if they don't like their work, and we love what we do. I guess that's why we chose to be professional athletes.
And you're preaching to the choir here. We are never satisfied. Even if we go in PR, it's like, well, why didn't I PR by 2 inches? Why was it only 1?
Exactly.
Totally. Okay, well, okay, right on. That's a really cool story. And so you did from say 12 to 17, you were waking up at 5, going to practice. And so what happened after that? After,
So pretty much my last competition at the age of 16 and a half, it was the Russian juniors, so I won 400 IM. Was super happy. I was like ranked number 2 in the country. Everybody is excited. My coach still doesn't understand what's going on. He's just happy about like a place, like I said, we're from small town, and like no one expects anything from you. And I told him that like a year ago, I think he doesn't even remember. I told him like, hey coach, I want to swim like this fast, like at this competition. He was like, oh, Aleksei Anderson. If you've heard this Anderson name, it's a guy who wrote like fairy tale for kids, and he called me Aleksei Anderson, which is
because it was a fairy tale.
Fairy tale, like, Aleksei, you come down, like, and that's not how coach supposed to say. He's supposed to be like, oh yeah, like you want to do it, let's do it. Like he has to be supportive no matter what, because you never know what kind of like athletes in front of you. You have no idea what is in their heads and what they're thinking about, and you never know who's next Michael Phelps, right?
Right.
Or like whoever it is.
Totally. That resonates with me. I've had coaches, who were maybe too busy or had their eyes on another athlete or whatever, when I was in high school particularly, but also a little bit in college before I started to flourish. And so like, coaches can really impact, like how an athlete sees themselves, but also like their access, right? And so like if the coach doesn't give you that sort of belief, it has to come from within, which it should anyways, but the coach is there to inspire, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. And like a lot of kids come in like from not great families, let's say, and they just only things they want to do, they want to do sport. If coach doesn't support, who else is gonna support them? Who else is gonna tell them like, hey, like you got it, like go for it. Like either teacher, professor. And like in my situation, I expected that coach gonna tell me something inspirational, gonna push me forward, and it never happened. I was like, whatever, I'll push myself.
Love
And
that.
yeah, like after this race, I pretty much graduated high school, and I attended medical school afterwards at the age of like end of 16, I think. Yeah, I made it to medical school and moved from one city to another, which was still Siberia, but like 2,000 miles away from home. Seemed a little bit far, like seemed good to be over there at some point. So
Okay, so you went to medical school.
yeah, I did for almost 9 years, total 9 years. I spent 6 in a row, and then like it just happens that I got scholarship here in US and came here for like another 4 years to study in college. And while 4 years, while I was doing first 3, I was still doing medical school back home, like distance wise, let's say. And tried my best to keep up. And like after 3 years in America, I finally came back home and took all governmental exams. So I got my degree and like officially I became a doctor without permission to work.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. So you told me a story one time about like maybe one of your final swim meets in Russia when you were in medical school. That's the one where because you got a sponsor, right? At one point.
Yeah. So like it's another. Yeah, I have a lot of interesting stories.
Yeah. This one's a great one.
It was like I think it was 2015, and like my roommate, he got a message in Russian networks that like one woman, she helps athletes from different countries to get scholarship and make it to US, and he got so excited and I was like, oh wow, like so it's possible. And we start kind of like to dig deeper, how to get scholarship, how to go to US, what we have to do to study there. And I think like 9 out of 10 kids like in my country excited to come to US and swim for college, because it's totally different experience. You're watching all these Hollywood movies about college life and you're like, hell yeah, like I want to go there. I want to see what it is like. I mean, athletic part is great, but even better like to chill after workouts, and things like that. So yeah, like eventually that's why it took me 9 years instead of 6 in medical school. I took like a holiday, whatever you call it. Like I made some papers that I'm sick and I cannot continue education in Russia. So like I had to take a break, and I said goodbye to my family. I said goodbye to everybody, and I went to Moscow for my last championship. I did okay, but I didn't care because I was waiting for scholarship from my coach next to Chicago. So my friend, my teammate, he already moved here, and like we were just connecting to this coach through this friend. And he was helping me, and he was like working on all my papers. And eventually, first time I didn't pass English exam, but second time I did. And when I did, I was trying to reach out to the coach, and he never replied. And I was already in Moscow, like it's 2016, I think. I'm in Moscow with my suitcase. I quit pretty much medical school after 6 years. It was my last year. It was my last semester. I said goodbye to my parents. I said goodbye to my coach. And I'm in Moscow, far away from Siberia. It's like 6-7 hours flight from my home. And my friend texted me, hey, coach refused to give you a scholarship. And, I remember I'm getting out of a train and like bird shits on me. And I was like, it just cannot be true, And I'm with 2 teammates and I'm telling them, hey guys, like everything is okay, like goodbye, And they take in another plane, like to go back to Siberia after this Russian championship. And I'm kind of staying, waiting for my plane to go to US, and just like it never happened because the coach refused to give me scholarship. It was July of 2016, I think. And my friend back then, his friend from high school, and he was going to school in Moscow. So he allowed me to stay over his place, and I was looking for any like opportunities to go to US because I had good results back then. I had good tests for English exam. I took 2 of them. I did really well. And I literally I opened NCAA like school ranking, whatever you call it, and it's like after nationals, it's like better to see who did really well on nationals, So I texted like first 30 schools from second division, like all coaches, like basically begging them to take me. I agree for any conditions. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to work, and I was like desperate. I just give me opportunity, like take me, you will never regret, Like I knew that they would never regret. And nobody said yes. Like someone offered me half scholarship. And for me, first of all, for Russian, it's impossible to pay in dollars. Second of all, like my parents didn't make enough, just that it's not doable, to pay for American education. So I needed like a full scholarship. And eventually one guy from California, from Fresno Pacific University, he texted me that like he will give me full scholarship, but I need to take another exam. And back then in Moscow, like I'm spending like about, I think like 6 to 8 hours on subway just to get to practices twice a day. It's like half a day I spend on subway just to get and like swim, like twice a day. I didn't even have a lunch because I didn't have time for that. And I remember texting this coach. I was like, look, like I'm just going nuts here. And like I don't have money to pay for exam third time. It was like $250, I think. And it's a lot of money, like in Russia. It is what it is, And he was like, look, Alexei, if you take this exam, if you pass it, you have full scholarship, you don't need subway. There is a kitchen next to pool, there is a pool next to school, there is a school next to your bed, basically living on campus. And for me, it sounded like, again, another fairy tale. I was like, just, we don't have it in Russia, like I said, very different. And eventually, I quit swimming in Moscow. Like I had sponsor, like Cam said, mentioned, and that sponsor screwed me over. Like afterwards, I stayed like owing money to these people, like it was a mess back then. But yeah, I came back home October 2016, studied like 20 hours a day for English. And a month later, I took exam, I passed it, and coach, he was honest, so he gave me full scholarship. And a few months later, I was in US and California, which I would never expect. I didn't even know where California is.
Gosh, man, that's super cool. That's an awesome story. Yeah, that really just shows like the grind of it's a totally different grind than a lot of people in the US are used to, because we kind of have a little bit more opportunity all around us. So it's really interesting to hear the perspective from somewhere where there just like wasn't really opportunity for sport past high school, college, and then kind of like how you made that work. I mean, just like really incredible to hear.
And I mean, in my team, we had like 7 Russian kids, 7 Russians, and we didn't really speak English during the war. During swimming, coach was just like wasn't happy with that. But all of them, they like we all admitted, like, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but Americans don't realize how much opportunities they have and how lucky they are, just to have stadium at your school. We don't have it in Russia. We don't have stadiums at schools, like you have to go and you have to drive somewhere to work out. And like people, okay, like they take it the way it is, like if you don't have any other options, like what are you gonna do? You're just gonna take what you got, right? And coming here and like seeing campus, I was like, phew, that's gonna be the easiest way to work out I could ever imagine, And I'm going to cafeteria after, and like for breakfast, I was like, I literally ate like 15 to 20 eggs every morning just because I had them for free,
yeah, just because you could.
Just because I could, exactly.
Okay, and so you moved to Fresno Pacific for a little bit, right?
Yeah, I was there for like 2 years.
Okay.
2 years, yeah, I think so. Afterwards, I transferred to Florida to another school because coach quit it, and I decided not to stay without this coach. So
yeah, and so you moved to Florida for a bit.
I moved to Florida for another 3 semesters. Yeah, it was
okay.
Another fun story. Like after a few months I was there, like nothing went well for some reason. Like my first week, I hit my heel and I got 10 stitches on my foot. I couldn't swim for a few weeks. It's like I made a flip turn and hit really hard on the wall. And I got 10 stitches, couldn't swim. Coach like got not happy with it, because we had conference and like I didn't do well on conference, even though like I was one of the hardest swimmers over there, and like couldn't compete for nationals, didn't qualify for nationals. So everything went down. And like a few weeks after, he told me, hey, you don't have a third semester. And I was like, I won't be able to graduate. He said, well, come up with something because you don't have a third semester, you don't have eligibility. And I had no idea. For 3 years it could happen, yeah. So I started to look for ways to continue my education in USA because I was just like, I was desperate, you know. Like I said, I stopped my education in Russia, and same situation happening here when I like just don't have time to graduate. The main reason was like they didn't transfer a lot of credits from Fresno to Florida for some reason. So
Right.
I lost a lot of credits, and I just again was very short on time.
And so what'd you do?
Well, to be honest, I had a friend in Russia. He was my professor, and he was a guy who could create or make up any kind of papers for me. So like to be fair, like I lied, and like with him we made some papers that I didn't study enough years in Russia. He signed them up, he put some stamps, he sent it to me back like via mail, you know, to USA. I gave it to my coach and it all worked out. So I had my extra semester.
Oh,
Okay, nice. I
well,
mean, you gotta get it
You
done.
gotta do what you gotta do. And you know, at that point I was like, no, I'm not giving up on like after 7 semesters, one more, like I'll have to come up with something.
that was a creative solution.
Probably not the best one, you know, but it is what it is. And I mean, I don't see like any restrictions. I wasn't like you know, Olympic champion or anything, so like there is no point to keep me away from it or like take it away from me, this education. And yeah, I'm happy again. Like I never
Yeah.
regret about my decisions. I didn't do anything bad. So
Yeah, you got to fight for your right to education. You know, I mean, like, no one's gonna just give it to you. You gotta,
Exactly.
you have to be active with it. You know, and like if they don't give you money, you gotta not take the money, but you gotta
find a way to get them.
find it, right? You know, you gotta find your way because at some point you got to be your biggest advocate, and it seems like you were. And so you finished your last semester, and then was that an Olympic year?
It was an Olympic year, yeah. And actually,
Yeah.
I wanted to go back to Russia and take part in how you call it, like qualification for Olympic trial,
Yeah.
right? And it was like it was so tight in time. Like we had conference, like it was next week. I wanted to go to another Florida meet in Florida to compete in like Olympic standard pool 50 meters. My coach, well, if I were you, I wouldn't go because you have nationals. And you know, like unfortunately, coaches in colleges, they care only about you while you're in college, like nothing
Right.
else, you know. Like it's not professional sport. They don't expect that you're gonna go further, you know, like they're gonna take care of you. No, they like if you're done with college, you're done. Next, you know, like next 4 years next. And he was one of those guys who didn't have like long-term perspectives for his athletes, you know. And that was unfortunate. And like again, like if I expected some support and like, hey, yeah, of course, Alexei, go, like go get them, you know. He was like, no, like you shouldn't go, you have nationals. And I give up on that idea. And when we were getting ready for nationals, like last week already, COVID hit pretty hard, and like we already suspected that nationals might not happen, but it did happen. We came over there. We had first day without spectators. We had second day in the morning, like morning sessions, semifinals, and after that everything got canceled. So you know, like people say, you never know when your last race is gonna happen, and like that was my last race.
Semifinals.
And it wasn't even my main event, you know, like I swam 100 fly in the morning. I qualified for nationals easily, was like 4th or 5th. That's my perfect timing. And then I swam 100 backstroke in relay, and like afterwards they announced, okay, no nationals anymore, everybody goes home.
And that was
so
it?
that was COVID year.
It was COVID year. It was March. It was like the hardest it hit, you know, back then. And yeah, they canceled everything. They canceled school. We didn't really study. Like I remember, you know, like I was so tired at that point that like I was like, okay, like fine, like no 200 fly or whatever it was. Like next race, I was happy to not do it. But a few months later, you realize it was my last race. You know, I could handle it, and I would love to handle it. You know, I would be happy to die. I was there in the pool just to feel my last race how it is. You know.
Right, man. So COVID took away your last race.
Yeah.
And then you were done.
And I was done. Like after that, we came back to Florida, you know, like this emptiness inside, no school, no work pretty much because I'm international, like no swimming, like literally nothing, you know, like for a few weeks, like nothing. We were just hanging in a house, like with my friend from Ukraine, didn't know what to do, like didn't know where to go, and eventually it was April of 2020, and we decided to go to California and just do some labor to make some money. So here I am, still here, doing some labor, making some money.
And
Okay.
so, how did the transition from, like, when did you start training for triathlons?
For triathlon, it was
Yeah.
so last year, like almost 11 months ago. You know, for 2 years, I decided like I always wanted to take a break after swimming because I never had a break. Like never in my life I took a break like more than a week probably. I was so like, I guess, sick mentally, you know, like in quotes, that like I couldn't skip a day. I was like, no, I need to go work out. I need to go work out, you know, like coaches again didn't see and they couldn't like push me, slow me down and say like, hey, like chill out a little bit, you know, like take it easy. And I was always like, okay, go. Like I'm having fever and I'm like, no, like there is a workout tomorrow, you know, I need to be good tomorrow. I need to make sure I can stand up and go to workout, you know. And I guess I always thought that like at age of 25, 27, I'll take a break. And unless I do something incredible, like until this age, you know, and never happened in swimming, like I said. And I was always excited about triathlon. I remember watching this triathlon Ironman competition and thinking, who are these people who can run marathon after 110 miles on a bike? You know, like how's it even possible? Just, you know, just like looking at them, I was like, no, like it's not me, you know, it's like way too much, it's way too fast, it's like just different level. And yeah, like I've met my girlfriend 2 years ago, and first question she asked me like, what would you do if you would have all money in the world? And I said I would work out, you know, I would go swimming anyway, like what else to do, you know, like stay in shape, like be fit, like eat well, you know, look good and just feel good. And yeah, like last year one of my clients, I'm coaching kids, and one of my kids' father, he told me like, go check this team out, go check this team out, like go see what they do, how they do. And it's team of people who way older than me, like 40 plus probably. It's a masters group, but they do swimming and they do triathlon. And I remember last year it was like August 30th, August 31st. I drove to Menlo Park. I saw the coach. I got lucky that I saw like main coach, head coach right away. And like we talked for a few minutes and he was like, you want to go hard? I was like, I want to go hard. You want to win. You don't want to just work out. I was like, no, I want to win. I don't want to work out, you know? And he was like, okay, like come try it, you know? And he was like very mellow person. But before that, I remember I called his coach assistant and his name is Mike. And I remember I'm trying to impress him and tell him like how good I am as a swimmer. And, you know, like I can handle running. I can handle any kind of workouts. He was like, you know, Aleksei, nobody really cares about swimmers in triathlon. Like that's like kind of BS, you know, like it's the shortest leg and like basically like don't give me shit. Like I don't care about you, you know, like come over and we'll see how you do, you know, how you do on the bike. And I was like, I pulled my phone away and I was like, who the hell are you? You know, like I'll just come over and I'll show you what's up, you know. And I like first month of last year, September, I was just swimming like probably like 6 times a week, just in the morning for like 1-2 hours. And you know, every single workout I'm just going hard. I'm going hard. Like it's been 2 years since I didn't work out, and like I'm excited, I'm pumped, you know. I want coach to notice me. I want people to figure out that I'm not here just to chill, you know. I really want to work out. I started to go for a run with them, like Sunday runs. It's a long run in the woodside, like on hills, so like a lot of elevation. And we started from 8 miles. I was so like, you know, impressed that I can run 8 miles. Then I did 10, then I did 12. Then I went for like a long run with them. My first long run was 14 miles on flats, and I couldn't walk for a week after probably. I averaged like 8 minutes per mile, and I was like, oh wow, like that's so fast, like 8 minutes per mile, you know. Now I can run like 20 miles with like 6 minutes per mile, you know, like not a big deal. And yeah, started from running, but then coach, he lended me his TT bike, like time trial bike, which is like 25 years old. I'm still riding this bike and did really well on this bike, few races, you know. But yeah.
And when he says he did really well, for the listeners, he was so there was a USA Championships 3-4 weeks ago in Milwaukee, and he was fourth in his age group, 10th overall, and there were thousands of people there. and these people train year round for this event to be able to, you know, get to top 10 or whatever, and then you get to represent Team USA. So Aleksei is among those people and beating most of them. No disrespect to them.
After a year or less than a year of really training, which is probably one of the most impressive feats about that, is the fact that you haven't been doing it for years and years. You've been doing it pretty
and it
recently.
makes me more courage, you know, like, so I know that like there is a lot of potential, and I'm really excited. I just, again, like I just want to work out and see how far I can go, like nothing else, you know, behind. There is no context or anything.
I mean, and also you're on a 25-year-old bike, right?
Yeah, and bike is pretty old, but yesterday coach lended me another bike.
Okay.
Which is like a little bit smaller than I need since I'm 6.3, but it's a good iron bike, and hopefully I'm gonna be a little bit faster next week. So we'll see how this goes.
Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing about how you do. But man, that is definitely an inspiring story. I mean, it just sounds like you just have elite work ethic, and that's like your superpowers. You just like grind and you work when other people aren't working. You're working. At 5 a.m. Aleksei's in the pool, man. Where are you? You know, that's gonna make me think about it. I'm like, you're gonna be training. I'll be like, man, what am I doing? Cool. Okay.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to ask. I was gonna say, so when you first came to California, what was like the culture shock like? What was it like when you first got there and kind of saw how Americans are?
So like I've been in US in 2015, like before I made it to college. It was like a student exchange program. So basically look for the contract, you pay like to participate in this program, and you get a contract, like job offer, and you go to work somewhere, and like, you know, like this, like just to stay in this culture and see what it is. So it's a great program for students and for kids, like worldwide, everywhere, for any countries. And I worked as a lifeguard in South Carolina. You know, like I learned, and I mean, I tried to learn English for a year before, but I still like didn't understand any single word in English. You know, I could speak proper, I mean, I understood the rules and everything, but I just didn't understand. My listening skills were terrible,
especially in South Carolina.
And I remember I flew to New York, to JFK. I had to go to LaGuardia Airport. I took a bus. I missed my stop, you know, like I was running back to LaGuardia, like through all these freeways and stuff. Made it to LaGuardia, and plane didn't take off for a few days due to weather, like bad weather condition. And I was sleeping in the airport for 2 days. And I remember third day, I was just like, I was going crazy already, you know, I didn't sleep, I didn't eat. I see this like prices for salads in the airport, and I was like, no, I don't spend my rubles on that, you know. My little money, like I can stay without food for a few days, you know, not a big deal. And I hear that few guys that speak Russian. I was like, oh, guys, like, where you going? And they said South Carolina. I was like, that's it. You take your tickets, we'll go and take a bus. Like, I'm telling you, this airplane not gonna go anywhere, you know. So I convinced 2 boys to go with me and take Greyhound. And eventually, while we like in the airport talking, we found one more girl from Siberia as well, who came like same program, you know, like, and she's gonna work at my place actually in South Carolina. So it was 4 of us already. And we spent night in New York, went to Manhattan, you know, and I was like, I was shocked, like, to see Times Square. And like, I recently told my girlfriend, Jackie, when we went to New York, I was like, you Americans don't understand, like, look at these guys. Like 50 years ago, it was here already. 50 years ago in my country, it was like fully destroyed, you know, after Second World War, like people like were poor, and, you know, like there is nothing, no education, nothing interesting, you know. And here, like, look at this Times Square. That's just like, that's ridiculous, you know, like 50 years ago, it was here, like all these skyscrapers and things like that. So yeah, that was my actual first impression. But we made it to South Carolina. I worked as a lifeguard for a week or 2 and got fired because I didn't speak English much.
Oh gosh.
So every time they said something on the radio and I'm like working, I just, you know, shut it down because I didn't understand anyway.
Oh man.
Yeah. But when we came to college, again, it's like different, you know, you see campus, you see kids around, and like every single team, they like a family, you know, they mostly into their sport. They don't follow everything in the world, like, and I remember myself as a swimmer, you still have your bubble and you think about your sport most of all, of course. And you just like you think that everything else like grows from like all branches grow from this tree, and this tree is your sport, like your activity. Anything, everything else, like it's like a secondary, let's say.
Totally. It's like your sport, especially if you're on a team in college, it can give you community, like because you already have people that you have to be around at all time, or like, 5 times a week or so, right? And you're struggling together and all this type of stuff. And so you have a, you know, like a community and the onset. So that can really help people kind of assimilate into the college atmosphere, right? And like feel like you have somebody kind of in your corner already. I for nothing else, I think that sports are great for that. In general, just giving people community, like people doing the same thing, working, maybe not giving the same effort, but trying to do the same thing, stuff like that. And not just today, but tomorrow, and then you compete together. You're on the same team, and wearing the same colors, all that stuff. It really means a lot, because otherwise, like college and high school maybe too can be somewhat isolating, right?
Overwhelming.
Yeah, overwhelming too, right? Totally. Okay, so yeah, flash forward to now, you're gearing up for this Ironman, and so you're doing coaching as well, right?
Yeah, let's say I've been coaching for more than a year. I was coaching kids, and my pool on my backyard, it's like 13 yards pool, but more than enough for kids, especially if they don't have any skills. But yeah, I love this job as well. And like I see it's even better right now to be an athlete and see from coach's perspective, like how it is, on that side, what they
Right.
see and what they feel. And like, of course, I care about my kids, and like I want them to succeed. Like otherwise, what kind of coach you are, right? You want them to do well, and you try like to dedicate your time, and it's not easy. I was always thinking back in Russia, coming to practice like before 6 a.m. and you like barely can open your eyes, and that like it's about like 6,000 meters workout right now, and your coach with a coffee, like sitting over there and like watching you, like who is this guy, like what the hell, like why is he there and I'm here, like working my butt off. And it's not easy, like you still kids expect from you, like they can work, like they're happy to work, but it's your job to make sure that kids do the right work and they can like improve in the future, because like kids don't understand much, and like it's very rare when like like young guy who's 18 like trying to manage his lifestyle, take care of food, take care of nutrition, take care of like workout plan. No, it's a coach's job, and it's a lot of work to do. So it's not just to write it down and okay, you guys good to go. No, that's not gonna work this way. And I always believed if like coach and athlete believe in one thing, like whatever it is, for sprinter, if it's like crazy long workout and seems like why do I need to do this long workout if I'm a sprinter? If you believe and your coach believes that this long workout gonna work out for you, okay, that's gonna work out no matter what. But if like coach and athletes, they look at the same piece of workout in different ways, and so that probably doesn't align,
And so do you talk to your athletes that you coach and make sure that you're on the same page and talk about goals and things like that, so they have something to think about in the pool?
Well, some of my athletes, they're like 16, 15 years old, but most of them 7, 8, let's say, just young kids. And you can see talent right away, like especially at this age when they barely know how to speak and how to walk, and you see he's swimming really well, like this kid has a talent. I'm just trying more than a workout. I'm trying to give this mindset like, hey, like if you want to achieve something, you can do it, in every single practice. If I wish I would hear that like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, that's what I want to tell to my kids, that's like what I didn't hear back then.
Yeah.
I know that they need to hear this.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it's like, are you trying to give to the kids you're coaching what you didn't receive as an athlete?
Probably.
But it seems
probably,
like,
probably. It's easy to give a hard workout and make sure they die in 20 minutes, like when they have another 40 to go and like easy. But it's not easy like long term, and long term it's a mindset, you want to be motivated, you want to be inspired, and you want to have this feeling that I can keep going for a while. And like after college in Florida, I thought that like I'm done with swimming, you know, I don't want to do it anymore. Like I'm so sick of it, and it's not my fault. I always was in love with swimming. I think it's my coach's fault. That's what I
Mm,
feel like.
hmm hmm Yeah, like we said before, coaches can really like have a huge impact on an athlete's mindset and just overall well-being, right? And you know, you can really help a kid or anyone, like you can really help a person become a fuller version of themselves, or you can tear them down. And it could be something as simple as just calling someone a name one time because they thought that they were being funny, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that might really stick with somebody, right? And so coaches have to be careful, I would say, about that, because I mean, like, it's a great honor to be a coach. I think someone coming to you and asking for advice how to move their
Exactly.
body, it's a great honor, and it should be treated as such, because like, people, all we got is our bodies, right? And so you're going to somebody and be like, help me move my body better, or the best way, or like help me be fit, or these type of things. It's like a great honor for someone to come to you. And so props to you for treating it as such, because I mean, like, you could be changing these kids' lives. They could be gaining confidence that might manifest in a whole host of ways, right? They might be, if you get your first win, be like, oh, like, if I work hard, I can get a win. That type of stuff, like, that's really important to learn.
But yeah, like, and if you're disciplined in like one area of your life, like if you're really, really disciplined, you're gonna be disciplined everywhere. Like that's how it works. You cannot be
Mm-hmm.
just, okay, I'll work out 8 hours a day, I'll wake up at 4 a.m. and I'll keep drinking. It's just not happening, like you're gonna stop doing it, or you're gonna quit, and like you will change a lot of aspects of your life as well.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. And so what are your future goals for yourself athletically?
Well, I guess, like I said, I always wanted to become an athlete, like give up on my medical degree, like give up on my degree here after college in Florida. And I just want to be in this like athletic field, let's say, to work here or to be here. And like, again, like I mentioned before, it's not enough, this feeling. Thank God it's still inside of me, like I still have it, and I still wake up at 4 a.m. and like, like people think that like great athletes, they wake up motivated and ready to go. No, they wake up like very tired and exhausted, and like pretty much dead like every single time. But they just have this like feeling of urgency. It's not enough time, and like time is running away, and you're like, okay, if not today, when I gonna do it? And
Mm,
like not a lot of people understand that they're already like 29, 30, like whatever, 35, and you're not getting younger, you're getting older. So like take it today, like don't oversleep all this fun time, you will be proud of yourself. So I
mhm,
just wanna, and I wanna see how far I can go, I guess. Like, of course, Olympic games and world championships and everything, like what I missed in swimming, I wanna have it right now, since like once again I see this opportunity and this chance that like I have it, like I have it in my guts, I have it in my engine, let's say, that like it works, I can make it work. It's like it's just hard work, and it's discipline, not just working out, but like I said, nutrition and sleeping and recovering, and like your friends, and like your society, a group of people who is around you, because, well, you don't want anybody to let you down, right? You want them to keep you up. So
totally. Yeah, right on. Well, cool, man. I mean, like, your story is very inspiring, for sure. I mean, the story of grit and grind, and what that can manifest into over time. Um, right on. Thanks for sharing. And I hope you share more on Coro.
oh, I will, that's
Yeah.
for sure.
That's right. We haven't even plugged Coro yet. Aleksei is on Coro. So if you are any of the three sports, the triathlon, or swimming in particular, that's his bread and butter. If you are interested, you can, or if you want to learn how to swim better, if you want to see what someone like Aleksei, who is top of his craft, what they do, go check him out. Subscribe, check him out, see what he's doing, interface with him, like all that type of stuff. Because from what I hear, not only are you a great athlete, but you're a great coach and a great person. And so people should really tap into that and kind of learn
they
about
will.
that grind.
I hope they will.
Yeah, I hope
I
so
can
too.
teach a lot at my age, you know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah. Cool, man.
Coro, we got doctors and lawyers being athletes
That's right.
on Coro.
That's right. Everyone's an athlete.
That's pretty cool.
It's interesting diversity, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, a lot of people, you know, like getting degree and like following this common steps. Let's say you have to go to school, you have to get a job, and eventually they give up because like that's not what I like to do. I just want to be an athlete, you know. And it's not an easy choice because like athletics don't pay right away, you know.
Yeah.
Probably you're gonna pay at the beginning, like most likely.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's
So it's a tough choice, and like I always like honor these people, you know, who can do that, like support these people. It's not easy.
That's right. When you're joining Coro and subscribing to athletes, you're supporting a dream, and you're also supporting yourself because you get to learn you get to learn some of the best things to do from some of the people who do it the best. So yeah, that's our plug. You know, anyways, Aleksei, like right on, we really appreciate, you know, like your time and everything.
Thank you for
like,
having me on.
yeah, and we're definitely gonna you know, like keep tabs on you, and you know, like when you win your Ironman, you know, like come back on the pod and tell us how easy it was or something. Yeah, Zach, any like closing thoughts or like updates that you'd like to give the people?
I just want to thank Aleksei for coming on. So awesome to hear your story. And yeah, wish you luck in your Ironman and your future triathlon endeavors.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's right. That's right. And I guess like closing thoughts, you know, like I said, go hop on Coro, subscribe to Aleksei, subscribe to Zach, check out these guys, see what they're doing. They work hard every week. They are elite athletes. You can subscribe to Cam too. That's true. You know,
he works hard too.
I do work hard too. I'm getting back to the track. I promise, people. You know, but they put it in and day out, and you know, come see what it takes to be an athlete at the elite level, and then you know, learn from the people who do it the best. Like I said, that's what we're trying to offer. You know, a place where athletes support athletes, coaches, trainers, all in the same athletic umbrella. So that's who we are. That's what we love. If you like that, tap in, check it out. Coro.fit, hit that try beta, enter the beta, message me, whatever, post on my challenge. Zach actually challenged, he finished my challenge, people. He did. It looked very good. He did some Nordic hamstring curls. Those are not easy. So I'm looking forward to your next challenge, Zach. We'll see what you do, and then maybe we'll have Aleksei do a challenge too that hopefully is not in the water, because I mean, you know, I can swim, but maybe not like that. But and with that, we'll close out.
I'm working on it.
Yeah, you're working on it. Cool, man.
I'm thinking of it.
Well, maybe next pod it'll be up and we can talk about it. But you know, for the people who made it this far, as always, we appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.